All right, so I'm back in Genesis, Genesis 2 and 13, and the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. Now, when you look at a current map of Ethiopia, you're gonna see, excuse me, you're gonna see Sudan next to it, Chad, Central African Republic, whatever, whatever. But you gotta realize that over time, these uh the names of these lands were changed, right? So Ethiopia actually spread it further out west back then, which once again you'll see Sudan, Chad, Central African Republic, whatever. And I'm gonna put the map up on this video, Lord willing. But when you see that, it's the Nile River running through it. All right. So the Gihon, is the Nile. All right, the way that they'll break it down with the current map, well, it's not the Nile, it's just the Blue Nile. No, that wasn't excuse me, that wasn't the Sudan and all that back then. It was Ethiopia. Once again, it was further out west. So that's the Nile River running through. So the Gihon is the Nile. And once again, referring back to the article that I read, a couple sections from, a couple paragraphs, you'll see that the Gihon isn't mentioned. It's just the Tigris and the Euphrates, which Hiddekel being the Tigris, all right, which is east of Ethiopia, not Ethiopia, but east of Syria, as it'll say in the next verse, which I'm gonna get into as well. But I'm gonna show you the map right quick. And on the map, you'll see that you'll see the Blue Nile, White Nile, Nile River, which is kind of cut out, but once again, South Sudan, you know what I'm saying, Central African Republic, all these things that's west of Ethiopia was actually Ethiopia at that time. So the Gihon is the Nile River. All right, which once again they didn't mention Gihon or Pasan in that article. He just referred to the Tigris and the Euphrates, because the Tigris and the Euphrates, which is, east of Syria, which I'm gonna get into as well, are, they're still the name, you know. Granted, he mentioned Hiddekel and knew it was the Tigris River, and Euphrates is still Euphrates. But one thing I want to point out about the theological guy in said article was he didn't mention the bodies of water that you actually had to do research to find out what they were. He just went with the current bodies of water, which once again is the Euphrates, as well as the Hiddekel, which is the Tigris. So the point that I'm trying to make in this video is these Bible scholars are not the Bible scholars. The true Bible scholars are starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, all right, on down, or those are the Bible scholars. And none of us went to no theological school. We none of us did that. We were just given this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures. Chiefly an ear to learn from those who've been doing it longer than us. All right. So when you look at the Pasan, the Pasan is the Red Sea, which is, let's say northeast from the Nile River. The Gihon, I'm sorry, starting from the top, the Jordan River was the initial river that went out to water the garden. All right, then you have the Red Sea, the Pasan, which is once again northeast from the Nile, and the Nile being the Gihon River that runneth through Ethiopia, which Ethiopia's, let's say, territory stretched further out west at the time. All right. So when you simply, go into these scriptures, not simply go into these scriptures, but when you have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, You know, once again, starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, you'll see that these things they seem easy because they've been revealed to you, not because uh, were born with some supreme knowledge. It's just the spirit that's showing you that can break these things down. Whereas the people in the society that are that are deemed to have all the knowledge of the scriptures can't even break these things down. It's a spiritual thing. These things have to be revealed to you. All right. So what is being revealed, in this video is the area of the Garden of Eden. All right. I don't think I put I don't think I went into where the Jordan is, but we all know the Jordan runs through Israel, in that area. Red Sea being on the shores or compassing what you would call Saudi Arabia. It says Havilah in the scriptures, right, which is basically south of, South Syria. No, excuse me, not South Syria. I'm sorry. Excuse me, I apologize. Not South Syria, but South Saudi Arabia. All right, if southwest, if you will, in that landmass. All right, and now you see the body of water that is running through Ethiopia, which once again, territory stretched further west at the time is what? The Nile River. So we have the Jordan, the Red Sea, and the Nile River, which is being mentioned in Genesis, the 2nd chapter, right, starting at 8, going through 14. All right. So I'm going to go back. Now that we know that, I'm going to go back into the scriptures. All right, so this is Genesis 2 and 14. All right, wrapping it up. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goeth toward the east of Syria. And the fourth is the Euphrates. Okay, now we know that the Hiddekel is the Tigris, or what is called the Tigris now, and the Euphrates has been the Euphrates, right, which is east of Syria. Okay, so this is the territory. All right, starting with the Jordan. All right, let me go back up. Starting with the Jordan. All right, and this is verse 10. And the river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. All right, now the initial river, all right, is the Jordan. Okay, in the area of Israel. All right, Now the name of the first river, all right, that was parted into one of the 4 heads is the Pasan. We know now that the Pasan is in fact the Red Sea. All right, it says that is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium, and onyx stone. Okay, now we know that Havilah was located southwest of what we know as Saudi Arabia today, where the Ishmaelites, who are called Arabs or Arabians, all right, dwell. All right, which Genesis 25:16, starting at 16, tells you that, right? So we know that the Red Sea is the body of water that compasses that land. So the Pasan is in fact the Red Sea. The name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. We know that is the Nile River. All right, and that Ethiopia's territory stretched further west, and the names of lands were changed over time. So that would obviously be the Nile River running through Ethiopia. All right, and the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That's the Tigris River. All right, that's the Tigris. It says that is it which goeth toward the east of Syria. Okay, and I'm gonna get the map on this one too. All right, and it says, and the fourth river is Euphrates. Okay, so when you go on the map in the Middle East, okay, which they try to say in the article that I put out in the first video, they try to say, well, everybody says in the Middle East, but what do the scriptures really tell us? The scriptures tell us it's in the Middle East. That's what a garden was. So all these areas that you see on the map that I've displayed is where the garden of the quote unquote Garden of Eden stretched. Okay, all the way up to like Mesopotamia. You know what I mean? It stretched that far. All right, which I'm gonna get another excerpt from another source, that I've done during this research. All right, on this excuse me, on this topic. All right, matter of fact, I'm just gonna get it now. And this is just a world history app. I get it just to see the lies that Esau tell. But it says the ancient world. All right, the first civilizations. The earliest evidence that has been found of complex societies comes from Mesopotamia, which I mentioned before. The said garden stretched to Mesopotamia. All right, it says modern day Iraq and Syria. Now it's around that area, but not quite modern day Iraq and Syria. All right, it says in around 3500 BC, the mild, wet winters and long, dry, hot summers characteristic of the area ideal for growing crops. So this is why the Most High gave us that land, because it was fruitful. All right. Just like I said earlier, Esau got the lie. He got lies and truth in this shit. He mixed it well for you, unbelievers. All right. But it's ideal for growing crops. The land was very fertile. That's why the land was so special that the Most High was giving us, because we was going to just prosper in every way. In every way. All right. That's why one of the curses is that our crops wouldn't come in. Now, if we were people that were given a land that let's say we was living in a tundra type shit, we was given a land like that, it wouldn't matter if the crops came in or not, because we would never have experienced, being fruitful as it pertains to agriculture. So that's why that was such a major curse, because the Most High was going to knock us off our high horse. I put you in this land. It's beautiful land. It's fruitful land. Your crops come in. Everything growing. It's beautiful. And you're gonna put us in a land like this over here. Out of many of our captivities. All right. It says, and it is here that plants were first domesticated. Importantly, the land was also located between two major rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. All right. Now you see, once again, they don't talk about the Red Sea. And this is a whole different little app, world history app. They don't talk about the Red Sea. They don't talk about the Nile River. They talk about the two bodies of water that are still, even though the Tigris was the Hiddekel, but it seems like they picked that up, and that's the only ones they name. All right. It says which provided ready access to water, thus to irrigation. All right. When viewed on the map, the area itself is a crescent shaped, and for this reason, along with that of fertility of this land, it has been named Fertile Crescent, which is true. That's what they call it, the Fertile Crescent. But that's why the Most High gave us the land once again. It was beautiful land. The land had no like impurities or anything like that, except us doing some wicked shit. Excuse my language, but except us doing wickedness, But it was just beautiful land. It was fertile land. So I'm gonna go back to the map, show you the Euphrates and the Tigris, which is east of Syria. And this here is a map of the Tigris. All right, what you see is what was mentioned as the Hiddekel in Genesis 2, and as well as the Euphrates. Okay, so this is the area that was the garden, the quote unquote Garden of Eden. All right, this is where it stretched to. All right, you had the Jordan, which was once again the initial river that was mentioned in Genesis 2. All right, you have the Pasan, all right, which is the Red Sea. All right, the Gihon, which is the Nile River. All right, and as we see, the Euphrates and the Tigris, which is east of Syria. All right, so this is the area that the Garden of Eden, the quote unquote Garden of Eden, stretched to. Over there in the Middle East, just like I said, and I believe I said in the first video, you know, they made a statement saying everybody says in the Middle East. Well, where the hell is all these bodies of water at? So it goes to show you that the theological, you know, guys that go to these colleges and you know, study these things, if you will, actually don't know what they're talking about, man. All right. The Most High revealeth His secrets unto the prophets. All right. So I just wanted to make that video, all right, to like debunk, all right, this dude, whatever, John Calvin or whatever his name was, you know, to show we know where the Garden of Eden was located. It's not a mystery unto us, man.